Good morning, New Vision Center. I'm Reverend Leslie, and I want to open up by saying Happy Halloween or Happy Halloween Eve, Blessed Samhain to everybody who celebrates. Yay, this is my favorite. Nobody's surprised to see me in a costume, right? Anything to get a tiara on. I'm so honored to be given the opportunity to finish up our series on Stewardship Month. So to kind of take us back through the journey, we have talked about stewardship as self-care, stewardship through the world of work and wealth and career and purpose, giving our personal gifts into the world. We've talked a lot about stewardship in this relationship, in the New Vision Center community. And I get to kind of put the shining star on top of that by talking about stewardship and the world, on the entire world, which is where this celestial goddess kind of costume came from. Because I think the world, and I'm like, and the world is in the universe, and the universe is, what did he say? Everyone is magic. So there you go. So we're all going to be magical, cosmic, universal goddesses and gods of our own divine creation, because that's exactly what we actually are. We are all that magical fairy dust in unique, individualized form, living on this particular planet that, how lucky us, it has water and oxygen. It all worked out amazingly well. So here we are in a teaching that tells us we are all one and that we already completely and entirely embody every characteristic that we could ever need. And we are just going through life jamming on this, right? There's more than enough. Everything is good. We get what we need. The universe always provides. And then we hit a bump. We lose a job. A relationship falls apart. There's a political something. Perhaps that's happened recently, last couple years. And then this thing can happen where we start to close ranks. And we start to feel like, take care of our own first. Maybe there's not going to be enough, so we gotta take care of our people first. And the more stressful the situation is, the smaller the circle our people becomes, right? Our country, America first. Oh, let's worry about Arizona. Let's worry about the Valley of the Sun. Let's worry about our center. Let's worry about my family. Let's worry about who lives in my house. And we can become more and more constricted, all the while knowing and professing we're all one. There's only one organism. How does this happen? How does this happen? And more essentially, what do we need to do to open that back up so that we can actually look at stewardship and the world from the perspective of recognizing that who is responsible for the stewardship of the world? We are. It's not somebody else's job. Or rather, to the point, it is somebody else's job exactly as much as it's each of our individual jobs. If there is only one of us, then there is only one of us, and the stewardship of this planet is up to all of us. So, what gets in our way? This us and them thinking. Sam Killerman, who is an activist and a writer, he recently said, "The world is getting too small for both an us and a them. Us and them have become codependent, intertwined, fixed to one another. We have no separate fates, but are bound together in one." The us and them is fictional, because who is them? Who are they? Who's them? Who's the other? You know the way we move out of seeing someone as them? We meet them. My dad, hi Dad, I talk about my parents all the time and they watch. My dad used to say things, he likes to pontificate, and he would say things, because he's just talking, about, I'm fine with there being gay people, because they were checking with him. I'm fine with there being gay people. I just don't think they should be parents. Because what if that kid grows up and doesn't like having been parented by a gay parent or queer? That's not good. Until my, at the time, 13-year-old daughter said, "So you think mom should lose her kids?" I hadn't brought it up. I just thought I was going to slide by without maybe having to have that conversation with my dad. And you know how long it took him to turn the corner to, "Oh, no, gay people should totally have kids"? About 30 seconds. It took him processing, "Oh, I know one? I know a queer people? I did not know that I knew one. And I like her. I grew her. She seems nice." And that's what it takes to go from a them, a they, a the other, to mine, me, us, we, is simply recognizing that they're not scary. And meeting one person in whatever category that you have othered is usually enough to break it open. Those immigrants, they don't need to be here. Then you make one friend who's an immigrant, and all of a sudden, immigrants bring amazing things to our country. Sometimes we make them our senior ministers and then make them citizens. It's fantastic. Us and them is a myth. It's a silly myth. It's a silly myth. And what it really is lack consciousness pretending to be something political, pretending to be something more powerful. It's just that little voice in the back of our head whispering, what if there's not enough? What if there's not enough? What if it's not going to be okay? And so in our attempt to decide who's worth protecting, who's worth stewarding, we make other people outside of that circle. But the moment we meet someone, the moment we touch the heart of someone, we can no longer consider them outside of the realm of being worth protecting, of being worth stewarding. It's not okay to continue to live in the realm of pretending like our teaching is only true when it is financially and politically convenient for us. When we decide we're going to follow a teaching like Science of Mind, we are proclaiming on the inside of ourselves and hopefully on the outside of ourselves that there is only one and no one is outside of the realm of being deserving of protection. And therefore, we have to double down, triple down, quadruple down on the recognition that we are all, in fact, magical. That we are all already made up of the stuff and substance of the divine that causes us to be creative enough in the universe to be provided with everything we need. We do not need to shove anybody out of the storehouse of good and slam the door. Nope, this is my pantry. You can't have it. My pie. Not for you. There's enough pie. There's enough pie. And if there isn't, we will make more pie. I baked pie yesterday. I'll bake it again tomorrow if we need to. It's all good. It's all good. Oh. So when we are here, right? I have to be careful not to drop my tiara. When we are in the closed off place, there are things that we can say to ourselves. Surely no one in this room, right? Because we're all immune from this, right? But just in case, I will mention the kinds of things we might say to ourselves, like, well, those people just need to pull themselves up by their bootstraps. Never heard it, right? Do you know that phrase doesn't mean what we think that phrase means? Pull yourself up by your bootstraps. Join me in your mind. Boots, right? A bootstrap is a loop right here, right? It's a loop that, like Hessian boots, the big tall ones like this that didn't have zippers, they didn't have zippers, y'all. They would have to pull the bootstrap to get the boot on, right? Now join me in your mind. You're sitting on the ground in your Hessian boots. And somebody says, pull yourself up by your bootstraps. So your hiney's on the ground, and you grab onto that bootstrap, and you pull yourself into a standing position. Is this a possible thing? No. The original meaning of the phrase was to make fun of the idea that a single person by themselves could ever pull themselves up by their bootstrap. It's not possible. It requires someone to help you get up. And somehow our culture flipped it as if somebody should be able to do that. Y'all, rugged individualism is a failed experiment. It doesn't work. Take a breath. We have been sold a beautiful experiment that has failed. We cannot do this on our own. Humans are social creatures. We're not supposed to be able to do this on our own. When we are us and theming people trying to protect this my little tiny piece of the universe because that's the way it's supposed to be, no, it isn't. It isn't, and it does not work. Thomas Merton, the beautiful mystic and theologian, wrote, "The whole idea of compassion is based on a keen awareness of the interdependence of all these living beings, which are all part of one another and all involved in one another." Compassion is inherently based on and requires the awareness of interdependence. Every time I talk about interdependence, I hear Reverend Penny Masick in my head saying, no, Leslie, you cannot do it by yourself. It's interdependence. Independence will choke the heart out of you. It's interdependence, where we are able to be held accountable for what we will say we will do. We're not dependent, but we are interdependent on one another as a community. This is how we move forward powerfully. This is how we steward this community, correct? Correct. This is what we do. We are all one. But here's the deal. It does not stop at the edge of the Tatum campus. It does not stop at the edge of where people log into the online campus. There's no line where it stops. It's like quantum physics. If you put your hand on your leg and you zoom in with an electron microscope as close as you can get to where you're seeing the atoms and the subatomic particles, you cannot tell where it stops being one item and it starts being somewhere else, because we are not separate beings. There is one. There is one. There's no difference in substance from us and the air and the chair. Somebody asked me this week, is God the chair? Hell yes, God's the chair. If God is all there is, and there's a chair, what else would the chair be? There's either oneness or there's not. We can't parse it. If we can parse oneness into separate entities, then there is not oneness. If there is not oneness, the whole philosophy falls. We believe in oneness, one life, one God, one heart, one perfection, and we and everyone is it. And we are interdependent because we are all one. So, here's the deal. When we think about life that way, how we approach stewardship inherently changes. So going back to the very first surface in this talk, stewardship is the caring for and management of that which we feel is valuable enough to protect. When we recognize that we are all one, and not even just all humans, and the trees and the squirrels and fruit bats. I just love fruit bats with their little cute faces. They're so cute. And animals that aren't cute, like tarantulas, all of them, we're all one. And the chair and the rock and the river, all of it. When we think about it as it's all one beingness in which we are interdependent, the ones here in Arizona and the ones in Nigeria and the ones in Bali, all of it is all one. How can we not think about how we deal with ecology differently? How we deal with food resources differently? How we care for one another close in and far away differently, more completely, more open-heartedly. It's a natural evolution from the philosophy into the way we live. We teach spiritual living and we live spiritual teaching. Stewardship is the livingness of the philosophy that we teach here. It's the walking out, the connectedness of all life. When we know we are all one, compassionate interdependence is the only rational choice. When we know we are all one, globally, beyond globally, I mean, I've never met anyone from Neptune, but if I ever do, person or rock, they're one as well, right? It's either all or nothing. Compassionate interdependence is the only sane choice. It's the only way forward that is healthy and peaceable. Ernest Holmes wrote, "Compassionate caring are the ties that bind us together in mutual understanding and in the unified attempt to uncover the divinity in each other." To uncover it. Why do we uncover it? Because it's already there. We just have to learn how to see it in everyone. Yes, that person that's rising up in your head where you're going, except them, especially in them. Oh, I know. I do it too. We all do it. And we're all walking towards learning how not to, how to keep that space where there is the more than enoughness for everyone. There is more than enough for us. And everyone is us. There's no not us. What does this have to do with the stewardship of this community? Where we're closing off our stewardship month? So much. We see it reflected in how we handle our outreach. 10% of the funds that we bring in this community goes right back out to support our international organization, which supports every religious science center everywhere, and to support organizations in our community that are doing this work of spreading the stewardship of the good of life to the people who most need to feel the heart of the community embrace them. Foster children, young women who have been trafficked, people who don't have enough food, people who have been othered, who have been themmed, who have felt shut out. We are a place that throws the doors open wide. We are a place that in our partnership together spreads that feeling of available partnership for anyone, for everyone. Holmes said, "It is only when we feel partnership with life that we can hope to live together in peace and in harmony." And it is through partnership with this community that we learn how to do it. And so it is. So let us anchor that in with some prayer. Oh, there is only one life, one heart, one flowing abundance, one ever-giving loving kindness that we call the divine, that has created everyone and everything out of itself and built its qualities into all sentience. And what I know is that I am that. I know that everyone within the sound of my voice is made of that same stuff and substance and brought into unique individualization, but filled with that goodness, with that creative essence, with that abundance, with that ever-loving kindness and absolute wholeness. And so when I know that truth about each one of us, and truly everyone is us, what I know is that that which is on our hearts is being met right here and right now, that every divine quality is rising up within us exactly as it is needed, exactly as it is called, that there are physical healings and abundance flowing forth and financial challenges resolving even as I speak this prayer, that there are relationships healing, that there are hearts opening, simply because that which has always been true is being uncovered, is being revealed. The power of love is revealed right here, right now. And I am so grateful. With a thankful heart, I just say yes to all of this good unfolding for each one of us and release it into the action of universal law, trusting that it is done perfectly and beautifully. And so it is.